Good morning, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acamprio with today's tropical update for Monday, August 30th, 2010. We now have Category 2 Hurricane Earl, located at 18.3 north, 62.4 west. This was as of 5 a.m. Maximum sustained winds 105, so we're only about 6 miles an hour away from our second major hurricane of the season, and that should occur sometime today. Movement is west-northwest at 15 miles an hour. So here's the official forecast track. Again, not much has changed from the National Hurricane Center. They did adjust this track a little farther west along the East Coast, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a concern that I have for the East Coast with the set of model runs that came out last night at 0Z. So looks like the East Coast is kind of still in the game here, and we need to have our guard up here from the Outer Banks northward. So here we go. We should have a major hurricane up in this area right in here. Conditions look very favorable for strengthening as this moves west-northwest and then starts moving northwest to the east of the Bahamas. And then let's move this up a little farther here. So you can see this cone of uncertainty, and the National Hurricane Center on their discussion at 5 a.m. did point the uncertainty of 200 to 300 miles as we do go out in day 4 and 5 here. So the cone goes all the way along the East Coast on its western edge, and then look how far east it is on its eastern edge. So again, this is the uncertainty. All of us along the East Coast here from North Carolina to the north needs to be very aware of this system as we move towards the Labor Day weekend. This forecast will kind of, as we go through the next few days here early this week, we'll kind of pinpoint this forecast a little better, especially as we get 72 hours out. But some of the models, and I'll show you in a minute, have brought this a little closer to the coast. So again, my 3 areas of concern would be Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, New Brunswick area of Canada, and then we'll move down to southeastern New England here, or we might even put even a little more, maybe even eastern Long Island in the mix now as a possible landfall area, and then again the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So these are my areas of concern right now. Again, a quicker system off to the east, we wouldn't see much effects at all, except for the high seas and beach erosion. In any event, beach erosion is going to be tremendous with this system. No matter what happens here, and this could be a pretty costly event for the beaches along the East Coast here. Again, farther west, that would put the western wind field along the coast, and we could expect more concerns there for the coast. So that's what I'm looking at right now, and let me show you. We'll go ahead here, and I'll show you some of the reasons why I think this could be moving a little farther west along the East Coast here. So first of all, here he is. Hurricane Earl this morning, and you could see starting to really wrap. We're going to really see an eye pop out on the satellite view here today. You can see it really wrapping this deep convection around the eye. Good news is it's hitting all its forecast points, and that's really good news for Puerto Rico, as they should stay out of the eye wall and should not get hurricane force winds at all out of this system. The concern still for the Virgin Islands, especially the British Virgin Islands. Virgin Islands are under a hurricane warning right now. They could get clipped by this southern eye wall, especially the British Virgin Islands. The U.S. Virgin Islands, it's kind of going to be close there whether they get into this southern eye wall or not. It may just slip to the north of them. But again, Puerto Rico will stay out of the eye wall, so that's good news. They are under a tropical storm warning and hurricane watch, but I believe these hurricane winds will stay to the north of them, so that's good news for Puerto Rico. But again, high seas, rough surf, some coastal flooding, especially on the northern facing beaches and northeast Puerto Rico. We still have a lot of concern for that, so be prepared there for those effects. And you can see here's the official forecast track, and then we should see a Category 3 sometime north of Puerto Rico later today or early tonight, and then off to the northwest it goes. But beautiful developed hurricane right now, and we should see steady increase in winds as we move along for the next 24 to 48 hours. Radar here out of San Juan, and you can see here's the eye right here. This is the long range radar, and here is this was Anguilla, St. Martin right in here. So you can see they're gonna catch. They might just catch the southern eye wall here, and then off to the west northwest it goes. And then, like I said, these are where the tropical storm force winds are in this band here. So you can see this is now getting into the Virgin Islands this morning, and in Puerto Rico later this afternoon. So this is where your tropical storm force winds are located, and then hurricane force winds located right here. So west-northwest, this will just brush the Virgin Islands here, especially the British Virgin Islands with hurricane force winds, and then stay north of Puerto Rico and not give them hurricane force winds. Okay, so here's the bigger picture. So what are we seeing here? Okay, you can almost dot the lines here. I mean, you can see here's the official forecast track, but if you can see, where's this system going to go? Well, just look at the water vapor loop. It's going to ride just like this. You can kind of see it carving out right now. Why I think this trough off, and I'll show you this view over the East Coast a little better here, why I think this trough might slow down a little bit over the Great Lakes Midwest area is that you can see this trough digging down here in the wake of our departing Danielle. This might slow everything down upstream as this digs a little farther south. High pressure here and then another trough out here. It's going to kind of slow everything down, and it'll slow the progression of this trough moving eastward, kind of blocking everything. And that's why I think this is going to come a little farther west now. If we look at the bigger picture here, you can see here's Danielle saying goodbye. Bit of a trough digging down in here. High pressure in here, bubble of high pressure here, and even this little short wave that's coming out of Arkansas today. This could slow everything down as well. But you can see everything kind of slowing down a little bit as this trough digs a little farther south. High pressure here, and then we have our trough here. This is what's going to try to kick Earl out later this week. But this could kind of put a kink in things as slowing everything down. And then we could see, if we put the official forecast track here, and this could kind of get this a little farther west, and then maybe even slow our system down a little bit too and come a little closer to the coast. So that's what we really have to be concerned about. And I see why this could come a little farther west this morning. So my concern for the East Coast is a little more today than yesterday. Wind shear, and you can see upper high starting to build over our system now, Earl. And as this little weak trough here moves farther west, here's our high pressure in here. This little bit of weak trough moves west. This high pressure is going to act to build over Earl. And with warm waters and high pressure, we could see Earl kind of explode. Category 4, I highly doubt it right now. It's going to be close, though. We could be pressing up to close to a Category 4 in this area. Then, of course, as it moves northward, wind shear will start hitting it, and it should slowly weaken. But it'll still be a formidable hurricane as it moves up the East Coast. Okay, model runs. Early run models, you can see they've actually nudged west as well. They were pretty far east throughout this, and they've now started moving a little farther west as they're getting closer to the coast here. More model runs here, and you can see some of the consensus now starting to get closer to the coast, and especially across eastern New England, and of course our friends in Canada really have to watch this system carefully. And then again, more model plots from Weather Underground. And you can see that GFDL, HWRF, and GFS, the GFDL and HWRF have slowly come west. GFS has been about the westernmost model. It's come a little farther west. And we also have the Canadian model in this mix and the Euro, all showing about the same thing. I would say the Canadian model is probably the farthest west model. I'll show you that in a minute. And here's the Canadian model. And you can see farthest west makes landfall really across southeastern New England here near the Cape, and then rides right into Canada, Maine and Canada right in there. So they're the farthest west model. You can see Fiona kind of getting absorbed into Earl, and I'll show you possible Fiona in a minute here, but that's Earl right there. Also another little system trying to spin one up in the Gulf of Mexico here by the Canadian model. So that's a little trough still hanging back there. We'll have to watch that. GFDL, again, it's kind of come a little farther west. It's been slowly moving west the last 2 days, ever so slightly. Each run is kind of moving a little farther west, a little farther west, a little farther west. So we'll see how that unfolds there. Differences with the GFS. This is 500 millibars. This is the 12Z from yesterday, and then we'll show you last night's 0Z. Subtle differences, but you can see what's happening here on the 0Z. A little bubble of high pressure building, and that's what I showed you as that trough digs here. High pressure is going to want to bubble up in here, and this trough's going to lay back a little farther, and that's helping to slow this system down a little bit and move it farther west. So those are my concerns why this system could come closer to the coast right now. And here's the 6Z GFS run, again, pretty close to the coast, and then making landfall in Nova Scotia there in Canada. So that's what the GFS is showing right now. We can run this one more time here. Let's give this a second to run. And you can see here is Earl, and then moving pretty much west, west-northwest, and northwest, pretty close to the Outer Banks, pretty close to New England, and then eventually landfall in Nova Scotia here, eastern Nova Scotia. So that's the GFS 6Z Euro model, basically showing the same thing with Earl, run after run, bringing the system pretty close up the coast, and again, just like that, almost like the Canadian model. And now, of course, flip-floppy, I'm going to call this the flip-flop Euro this year. Now where does it bring Fiona? Well, no, now we're going to bring it up the coast this time. And this thing is just unbelievable. It's had Fiona everywhere. I mean, it's hit the Gulf, it's hit Florida, now it's up the coast. So again, who knows what's going to happen with Fiona. Even if it does develop, we'll have to see how that unfolds here. Speaking of Fiona, or possible Fiona, not looking too healthy today. Looked like last night we were going to get another push of possible develop. Then this morning it's kind of, those banding features and everything's kind of fallen apart a little bit. We have a lot of shear on the western side here, but I don't know. Not looking too healthy this morning, so probably won't see a depression today either at this rate. And it's kind of getting a little close. If we could go back to this real quick here. If we go back to the wider view, here we go. You can see Fiona's starting to encroach on Earl, and if this gets too close to Earl, we might not see development out of this at all. What could happen is Earl could move out of here, it stays weak, and then it slips west under Earl. A possibility too, especially if it stays weak. So we'll have to watch for that. But if this gets too close to Earl, we might not even see development out of this. My thinking is it gets too close to Earl, either gets absorbed or destroyed by Earl, or maybe moves more north, or it stays weak and slips under Earl and gets into the Caribbean. Those are my two options with that now. Again, way down the road, we'll see what happens. And again, the latest models, the early run models, have it pushing out to sea, but again, we'll see what happens with that system. Well, that's it for today. I will probably have another tropical update later tonight. If not later tonight, I will definitely have one tomorrow morning. Have a good day.